Okay, we are live. Good evening. So, kindly confirm if you can hear me in the comment section. It's such an excitement, it's such a happy moment to be here again. So, today we're going to be talking about unlocking opportunities through strategic networking and relationships. So, this topic is something that all throughout your lifetime you are going to have to execute in one way or the other. And this particular live session is going to be a master class that even into the future you are going to keep referring to, oh, what I learned from this session and how it is helping me to, you know, navigate my affairs. Every single person needs relevant and profitable relationships if you are going to survive. So, if you're just joining this live session, let me know where you are joining in from in the comment section. Good evening to you all the way from Nigeria. So I know we have people joining from the UK, we have people joining from Nigeria, from Malawi, we have people joining from different parts of the world, right? So I want to see your comments. Let me know where you're joining it from. Okay, I'm looking forward to. Okay, so strategic networking. Why is this very important? Right? Why this topic? First off, if you are in this live session, it means that um, this particular live session is hosted by Successful Living Africa private community, right? So there is the public community and then there's the private community. Before now, we've had live sessions exclusively private, but for the first time this year, we're going to be having this live session and it's going to be made available to the general public and every other person out there. And so I want to give shout outs to every single member of the private community. So it's because of you that we're having these live sessions. So I see someone's comment. He said, let me see. Okay, Benin City. Okay, Hope says she's joining from Benin City. Awesome, awesome. Right. So I believe as other people get to join, they'll get to share their locations and we'll get to, roll along as we commence the session. So before we get into, how to unlock opportunities through building, a good network and relationships, there are two keywords there in the topic, which is strategy, and then we have network. So these are two keywords. First of all, strategy, origin from the Greek word strategos rather. And it's a military term, right? It refers to like a general's um, playbook for executing their plans, right? It's a military term. So it's something that they have to like debate about and say, okay, we're going to conquer this territory. This is the playbook at which we're going to do it. So that's where the word strategy came from. And if we were to liken it to life, John Obidi would say that we are a government. Every single person, you're a government of your own country. You are a nation. And so in your nation, you need to execute a form of government whereby you are able to guide, you are able to provide, you are able to, you know, be involved in the affairs of your nation. Are we together? Okay, just follow me, right? I'm trying to gain or try to give like an intro to this topic before we get into the practicals. So if that is the case, then it means that every single person needs to have a playbook, a strategy for executing their military defense in their nation. Okay, strategy. And the next is networking. So networking has been, or the word network has existed as long as, the human existence. But the word started becoming a thing in the 1900s. And, during those times where they trade with other nations, other people, they needed to have people in those other places that they can get info from, and that at the same time they can also exchange valuables and stuff like that with, right? And then it evolved to something much more, and then social networking and all of that, right? So it's not just something that came out last year or 10 years ago. These are keywords that has been in existence way longer before we were even born. And so these two keywords is going to drive the subject of this conversation. Okay. So the first thing, because I had to take like, a draft so that to help me channel this conversation, because otherwise we could be here for 2 hours. And I don't mind talking about this topic because it's something that not only have I, been able to navigate my way through networking and building relationships and unlocking opportunities through those relationships, but I've also been a beneficiary of what the right relationships, what the right network can do for you. And I'll share a couple of my stories as we progress in this live session. Okay, so let's move on to how to leverage relationships to unlock opportunities. I'll say that again, how to leverage relationships to unlock opportunities. So the first thing I wrote here was it starts with you, right? If you are going to build any form of relationship that is going to unlock opportunities for you, it first starts with you as a person. Because not everybody gets it. Not everybody knows, oh, why do I need to build a thriving network that will be a support system for my growth, either as my personal growth, my business growth, my career growth, whatever it may be. So it starts with you. Two things, you can put that in brackets, right? Your mindset and then your value. Because you need to understand first off that you cannot contribute to others what you do not have yourself. It starts with a mindset that says, for I to be able to go forward, I need to be able to be of value to other people so that they can assist me in my journey forward. No man is an island of himself. In fact, nobody of great significance has ever achieved greatness solely by themselves. The big guys, the big names, the billionaires that you know today are people who have leveraged relationships at several levels, some of which you know, some of which you don't. But relationships and having a good network, it cannot be overemphasized. The importance of having this just cannot be overemphasized. So your mindset, what is your mindset towards networking? What's your mindset towards building relevant and profitable relationships, because your mindset is the first structure, the first framework of which you get to build any other thing upon. So if you have the right, or if you have the wrong mindset concerning building a thriving network, then you're going to get it all wrong from the beginning. So you have to pay attention to mindset. And part of why I had to start with mindset is because a lot of persons already have the wrong mindset about relationships and about networking. And so, whatever I'm going to say in this conversation, if we don't have to trash those wrong beliefs and those wrong mindset about networking and about relationship building, then every other thing is just going to be waste. For example, there are people who believe that men are tools to be used, and that is wrong. That's a wrong mindset, that men are only tools to be used. Once you get what you want, you move on to the next step. In relationships or in biology, there's what we call um, parasites, right? And then we have two kind of parasites. We have the symbiotic parasite, and then there's the other name that just escaped me now. But somebody can just type that in the comments when it comes to parasites. I think symbiotic and one other name. I used to know it, but I just can't remember right now. But the symbiotic, right? Let me check the comment. Please, somebody uh, what it is called. Okay. Yes, parasitic. Yes, parasitic relationships, and then symbiotic, right? So parasitic means that they only get to feast, right? They only get to collect from the organism, but they never get to give. And the fastest way to keep that organism is to take so much that they do not have what to sustain themselves. So quite a number of people live a life where they're around people who continually drains them of their ideas, of their money, of their energy, you name it. And then they are wondering why it seems like after they spend time with these persons, they're always going down instead of going upward and forward. So you have to move from parasitic relationships to symbiotic relationships. I mean, in terms of mindset, knowing that, okay, I can make this work by we working together. There's a favorite quote by Jim Rohn that says, each of us need all of us, and all of us need each of us. Again, you cannot achieve anything of great significance by yourself. So symbiotic explains a system whereby I give to you and then you give to me, right? So in other words, it's a form of relationship that's transactional. There's a higher one which is called transformational, but we're not talking about that tonight. Okay. So the mindset, you need to get a mindset of relationships are important and I need them if I'm going to be able to go far in life. And I keep saying this, that one of the most greatest assets in this life, if not the greatest, is people. God needs people, the devil needs people, even people need people. Can you imagine? Right? So people, treat people with importance because they are important based on their value. Now, there's a general level of you treating everybody important because they're important, and that is very, very standard. Then, in a different light, in the marketplace, there's treating people, based on their level of importance. But that importance is based on the level of value that they have to offer to the marketplace, right? For example, say, for example, who do I use now? Elon Musk is your friend. Let's just put it that way. The way you treat Elon Musk as him being a friend will definitely be different by how you would treat, say, a random school classmate who just is a classmate and nobody and nothing else. Do you get? So this is very, very important. Please let me hear in the comment section if you are still following. Okay, true. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so mindsets. So the first thing is getting your mindset right. The second thing is the value that you have to offer. Okay, the value that you have to offer. And please don't get this twisted. If you do not have any sort of value to offer, I mean, we find value now because every person comes with their own pre-existed value that comes with them, right? If you have hands, you have a brain that can think, you have legs, then to an extent you have a level of value you can offer. But beyond that, there's something called refined value, which is you being able to put your physical features to use to either learn a skill or to be well articulated with your thoughts to be able to provide solution to others. So building networks and relationships is raised to power your value. And so that is why one of the first thing you must build when engaging the subject of unlocking opportunities through networking and relationship is you. You need to build the value that you have to offer in the marketplace, because trust me, valuable people, people with high net worth, people with high connections are going to come to you. But the question is, when they come to you, what do you have that can sustain them, that can keep them hooked to keep coming to you over and over again? Nobody, I mean nobody wants a liability in their life. So for example, I have friends who's good at this, who's good at this thing. I have friends who's good with finance. I have friends who's good with stock trading. I have friends who is good with, you know, say public speaking. I have friends who is good with different things. I have friends who, if I want to access certain kind of people, I know who to reach out to. That this person must have a plug. That if at all would have another plug, I will have another plug that can reach that person. So that way, I'm able to engage them based on the kind of value that they offer. So if you want to build a thriving network of people that can unlock opportunities for you, first off, you need to be a value added person yourself. You need to upgrade your value, because just like I mentioned earlier, you everybody comes with a pre-existing kind of value, which is the value that comes for whatever that you can do with your hand, your brain, your legs, and whatever. But it has to go a step higher. You have to identify a particular skill or a particular thing that you can do that will make you unique, that will make you different from other people, that will set you apart from your colleagues, that will set you apart from just an average young person or old person somewhere. You have to work on you and the value that you can offer to people, because this again is one of the things that would attract them to you. The value that you have, the value that you have to offer. So the next thing I wrote here is build credibility through your track records. And this is very important. You can agree to me or with me that whenever you see somebody that maybe you want to, that you're looking at, or say you see this person video and you just like how the person speaks, how the person dresses, how the person is able to share ideas or stuff like that. The next thing is you want to check who is this person, and maybe you want to look them up online and check their videos and check their timelines and check what they've done on social media. This is you going to their track records. It's the same thing. Whenever a high level person wants to connect with another person, they start checking the footprints of this person. So it also means that you need to have a track record. You don't want to get to the corridor of power, to the corridor of opportunity, and then be found wanting for lack of track records. And this is why, I get it that at some level of life, and for some people, they prefer to be ghosts and they've lived their life that way. They've set strategies that work or that works for them. But there are some other people that are trying to be out there. They're not trying to be ghosts, but your profile on Instagram is locked. Your profile on Facebook is locked. How do you expect your potential helpers, your potential networks to check you out to know if, okay, you are a kind of person that aligns with their kind of value system is so there's value in terms of the skills, the expertise, the solutions that you're able to offer. There's value in terms of your beliefs, right? Your core system that handles your operation. So, for example, for some persons, okay, just let me know if you can still hear. Okay, let me know if you can hear me in the comment section. So, they want to look you up. They want to see your track records. Your track record can be in terms of your results, the things you've done before. If you call yourself that you are a finance guru per se, or you are a financial educator, they want to see your track record. If you say that you're a business developer, they want to see the businesses that you've built, that you've developed, right? They want to see all of these things, your results in the thing that you align yourself as this is the value that you want to offer, or this is some of the values that you offer to the marketplace, right? Results, your consistency too. I see people that jump from things to this, they try this today, they jump to the next thing, they jump to the next thing, they jump to the next thing. Most times, this kind of attitude does not attract high value people, right? And I get that at some point, as a young person, you need to figure out what works. So you have to try different things at some point in life. But don't stop there. The aim is not to keep trying different things. The aim is to get something that you can be good and known for. Then, if you like, you can move on to other things. For example, when I mention some names, there are things that come to your mind. And if we do a survey, it's usually almost the same thing that comes to the mind of other people. If I mention Elon Musk, what comes to your mind? Type it in the comment section. When you hear the word or the name Elon Musk, what comes to your mind? When you hear the name Steve Jobs, what comes to your mind? When you hear the name Mark Zuckerberg, what comes to your mind? If you are from Africa, if you hear the word Dangote, what comes to your mind? Right? You will notice that each of these persons associate themselves, or they've been able to build a reputation in something, right? Okay, let me go through the comments. So you said, Hope said Tesla, right? Okay, awesome. You can hear me. Okay, great. Right. So what comes to your mind when you hear all these people? Then ask yourself, what comes to the mind of people when they hear my name? Uh-huh. That's the necessary conversation you need to have with yourself. And that's why it's good to build multiple things, but it's also good to be known for something first. One thing, if at all. One thing, then you can diversify into other things. As a matter of fact, because you've been so good in that thing, whenever you do anything else, people would look to you based on that first thing and say, if this person can be successful at this thing, and this thing is so good and excellent, then it means that any other thing is also good and excellent, right? Okay, so they're looking at your results, they're looking at how consistent you've been, they're looking at your reputation too as well. Who do people say you are? What are people saying concerning you? The scripture in the book of Proverbs says that a good name is better than many riches. There are people who would rather associate with you when a lot of people speak good things about you than no matter how rich you are, but people say evil things concerning you. Your reputation matters, and this is why you need to guide it jealously. You need to guide your reputation jealously. And the last thing, that you should also, that I will be sharing in terms of, credibility, is action, your ability to execute on anything that you get into. So sadly, we're in a time and day where a lot of people are more talkers than doers, right? But the rich, the wealthy, people who are of high value are more concerned about taking action, right? So they are more concerned about you being able to take action because they don't need another talker in their space. They need somebody who can actually get the work done, or somebody that they can entrust a project to and be rest assured that this thing is going to be done. I'm telling you this for a fact that high value people hate people who are just talkers. They don't do things. So again, you need to have a track record of doing things and executing things. The next thing is being intentional, and I cannot overestimate or overemphasize this enough. Be intentional. You cannot stumble into greatness. You cannot stumble into the presence of great people. These things takes a level of intentionality. Between year 2019 and year 2021, I said, you know what? These are some of the people that are doing well in my space that resonate with me. I'm going to connect with them. I wrote down their names. And then I'm going to connect with this person, this person, this person, this person. And one day I was on a live session with okay, I think I can mention their names, right? Hugh Steven and Lord T, okay, now known as Lady Kate, right? That's Busitobi. And then I think it was Lord, I think it was Hugh Steven that said that sometime back in that same duration, 2019, 2021, he also made a list of people he wanted to connect with. And her name was one of those people. And I was like, okay, this is not coincidence. So it means that high value people who want to connect with other high value people, sometimes I'm not saying that every single person that you're going to meet is going to be someone that you design that I'm going to meet. But I'm saying that at certain point, there are certain people that you know that these people with what they are doing, they align with your own agenda and the things that you want to achieve. And that being in the presence of these people would also contribute to your own growth and progress. So as a matter of fact, you need to connect with this person. And so you start making strategic moves towards ensuring that. I've done that a lot of times where I said, okay, this person, I want to connect with you. And I'll find a means to be in their space, whether to attend their events, to get their products, be it digital or physical, to volunteer for them, whatever it is to be in their space. In fact, there's somebody right now that I'm like, okay, you're my next target. I'm going to find a way to get in the room with you. That's how it's going to start. But you have to be intentional about that. Three things you have to be intentional when it comes to, leveraging relationships to unlocking opportunity. The first thing is your branding. You need to be intentional about your branding, how you are perceived both online and offline. Yeah. So if I look you up on Google or on Instagram, what will I see of you? With the things that I see of you, would I say this person is a serious person or this person is an unserious person? In fact, if you are positioning yourself to be a professional, it is not a big news now that you need to have a presence on LinkedIn It's not negotiable anymore. You just need to have a presence on LinkedIn about you, what you do, your current titles, everything needs to be there because people are definitely going to check you out if you are a serious person. So these are things you should not leave to chance. These are things you should take into consideration. How do people perceive you? Because that's what branding is. Branding is not usually reality. Branding is usually people's perception or the perception that you've created about you to the mind and to the eyes of others. Usually, branding is just a camouflage or something else, like a camouflage that helps people see you in the way that either you portray or that you've left it to others to portray concerning you. So what I'm saying is, if you are not intentional in building your own personal brand, trust me, others will build it for you. And most times when other people build your personal brand, you may not like what you say. Then offline, how do you appear? How do you dress? How do people see you? You know, your dressing tells a lot about how you see yourself and how you want to be treated. You know, Justice Maybe of the Federal High Court many years ago said that how you show up determine how up you will go. And of course, you know the popular one where we say how you dress show or tells how much you or how you be addressed, right? How you dress shows how you be addressed. So how are you dressed when you go out on a random day? How are you dressed when you go for an event? Does that speak concerning the kind of person that you are? Yes, of course, yes. You cannot leave things like that to chance. You cannot say, oh, I can just dress the way I am. You know, God knows my heart, and that's all that matters. Let me tell you something. God looks at the heart, but man looks at the outside appearance. And as long as you are in this world, you are going to constantly deal with men. And by men, I mean both the male and female. So it's important how you show up physically. Okay. The next thing that you have to be intentional about is the quality of your thoughts. So the first thing when people see you, they can like you based on your dressing, but the next thing is what comes out of your mouth when you decide to have a conversation with them or when they decide to have a conversation with you. The best time to prepare for having conversation with high level people in such a way that they're impressed is not when you are about to meet them. It's not a day before you have to attend their event. It's way before, when you spend your time learning, when you spend your time researching, when you spend your time reading books that improves the quality of your mind, because as a man thinketh, so it is. So it means that your outcome is a product of what you've invested into you. How you treat people, how you are able to provide solutions, how you are able to manage yourself or carry yourself is based on the quality of your thoughts. How you are able to analyze problems, think critically, and give relevant solutions is based on the quality of your thoughts. And the quality of your thoughts doesn't just happen automatically. You have to invest in it. You have to practice. You have to learn. You have to read. You have to read about books that improves your mind based on your subject area or the thing that you want to be good or known for. You have to be able to attend events that exposes you to the right environment and to the right people, and learn and hear how other people get to express their thoughts and the things that they are doing. You also need to be able to learn about the histories of people and see how they went from where they were to where they are now. I think a lot of people pay attention to the stories, no, sorry, to the glories of celebrities, to the glories of people who have made it, but they pay usually little to no attention to their stories. And their stories is where the strategy is. Their story is where the idea behind that powers their current outcome is. So you need to be able to read through biographies of people who have either lived the kind of experiences that you're going through right now, or that resonate with your path based on your interests, your purpose, your career, and whatever that it may be. So the quality of your thoughts, intentionally invest in the quality of your thoughts. Are we together? So if you are still on this live, just type the quality of your thoughts. Meanwhile, if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, this is the point where you just click the subscribe button and then turn on notification. We are going to be having more live sessions like this from time to time. Of course, not only on Sunday, but this particular session is hosted by SLAPC, which is Successful Living Africa Private Community. And we are a network of intentional people who are building a generation of people who are purpose driven and who are kingdom minded about building wealth and elevating others. Okay. So if it sounds like a platform that you want to be in, the link to joining us is in the description of this video. And we also have the general community. So the general is open to everyone. By registering, you get access. And we have the private, which is paid and comes with other perks like, having some intimate one-on-one consulting or live sessions, AMA, and Q&A and stuff like that. And I also get to share some of my best opportunities and resources and materials that can help you grow in that private platform. And also, we also hold each other accountable towards making progress, right? So if this sounds like a platform you want to be in, then just click the link and you know what to do. So it's subscription based, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. So whichever suits your budget, and you can just go ahead and do that. Okay. So I want to believe that if you've not subscribed to this channel right now, you've already done that. So let's move on. So the quality of your thoughts, the second thing that you should be intentional about. The third thing that you should be intentional about is the people you meet. I've emphasized this a bit earlier, how you need to be intentional, and that first off, it starts with you. And then when you go out there, you need to be intentional about how you position yourself so that you can meet the right people. And then I went on to say that you have to be strategic, right? Strategic in curating the kind of people that you want to meet and all of that. So that settles that. But you have to be very intentional about the people that you meet. Sometimes you may meet some people randomly that are destiny centered, or that are in line with your destiny and they would work with you long time. That happens. But there are also times where you need to be able to design that this person I will need you in my life, Johnny, I will need you in my life, and I need to hold you strong, or I need to connect with you. Okay. So be intentional about the quality of people that you meet, because most of the times what I figured out is that it's funny how the wrong people like to meet the right people. And so you have to be able to design that everybody cannot have the quality of my time, the quality of my resources, the quality of my money, in the same level. I need to be able to differentiate and say, no, this kind of person, I can say hi, I can greet you, I can do hello and wave, and that's it. And then I know those that I go the extra mile for. Again, being intentional about the people you meet. And I think part of how you do this is by being intentional, or being intentional about the rooms that you go into, the environments that you live in, the places that you find yourself in. Because, believe it or not, but destiny sometimes can be location sensitive, right? And you cannot be looking for good people in a bad environment. You may find, but it's just too stressful. Why not just move to a good environment and find good people? I don't take this literally, like this, like the proverb, right? So it means you cannot be looking for a wealthy person in a poor environment. You have to move to a rich environment to find a rich person. The same way you cannot be looking for a skillful person in a mediocre environment. You need to be able to move to an excellent environment to find people of such level of expertise. So be intentional. Be intentional about the environment. Be intentional about the events you attend, you know, because all of this adds to the texture and to the speed of your growth and progress in life. And as I just, mentioning about, how you need to be intentional about the people that you meet and about the rooms, just reminds me of the fourth edition of Hangout that is coming up on the 28th of this month. It's a room exclusively for disruptors, for change makers, and for king makers, people who are ready to, level up to their next level of growth. People who are ready to build strategic relationships, people who are ready to see life and how to unlock opportunities from a different perspective. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, then you definitely should be in that room. It's happening in Benin City. Here we do have people in the last three editions who have traveled from across Nigeria. So even if you're in Lagos, you're in Abuja, you're in Delta, you're in Ekiti States, feel free to start booking your flight tickets and also reach out to us so that we can help or assist in accommodation arrangements. Yeah, so just thought to chip that in, but that's a room that, and I believe there are a couple of persons on this call who have already secured their tickets. If you are here, you can just drop a comment. And it's such an interesting experience. Trust me, it's one of those events that shifts your mindset and that shifts your life in a very positive way. Yeah, and then if you've also been in any of the previous editions, you could just also, drop a comment and let me give you a shout out too as well. Okay, so the next thing as I wrap up in one more point is be valuable to relevant relationships. Emphasis on relevance. Emphasis on relevance. Please let me know in the comment if you can still hear me. Okay, emphasis on relevant relationships, because trust me, you cannot be everywhere. I call it the you cannot philosophy, right? I coined this a lot, like I think about 5 years ago. The you cannot philosophy, whereby you cannot be everywhere, you cannot do everything, you cannot go to every event, you cannot read every books. You are, as a human, you are limited to a couple of things. So you want to be able to channel your energy, your money, your time, your attention towards the right things based on the level of proportion of value that they get to offer back to you. And here that sometimes where it's not about you, and that is also understandable, especially when you're building legacy, you're trying to liberate others, or you're trying to help people, maybe based on your assignment or your purpose so that they can become better people and help other people. And, it becomes a ripple effect of a better society, right? There's that, but that's not the context at which I'm speaking from right now. I'm speaking about the context of you helping people or being of value to people who, in exchange, can also be of value. I said can also be, I did not say will also be, because sometimes people approach relationship from the standpoint of, if I help you now, it means you will help me later. I think that's the wrong way to go about it, because when you do that, sometimes you could get disappointed, right? The scriptures again says in Genesis that as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. And then it also went on to say that whatever a man soweth, so shall he reap. But sometimes we get to misquote it and think that it means that whatever or wherever you sow, that's where you reap. No, sometimes you sow somewhere and you reap from somewhere else. And usually you don't just reap what you sow, you reap much more, because if you reap exactly what you sow, what was the exercise for, right? So this is the way I put it, that I don't focus on receiving value, I focus on giving value. When I give value, I know that value will always return. It might not return from the place that I offered it to, but one day, at some point, from maybe means that I expect or do not expect, it would return back to me. So you have to sit from that mindset. Whenever you're going to approach anybody, don't just solely go with that mindset of, I'm helping you now so that you can help me later, because that is already a recipe or a recipe for disappointment if peradventure they don't get to help you. But when you help or offer value with a mindset of, okay, I'm just doing it, whether you choose to, do it back, or, offer it to me, the kind of value or a different, it doesn't really matter. Well, I think quite a number of people are considerate and they're understanding people. And an average good person or an average important person, whenever you do something good or nice to them, they start thinking of ways they can repay the favor, right? They just start feeling like, no, I cannot be indebted. I call it the equation of relationships, whereby try to be of more value to a relationship than they are to you, right? Try to outdo people in offering value. It just has a very subtle way of, improving you as a person. Okay. And the last point that I'm going to share because of time is, how many minutes do we have? Okay. The last point that I'm going to share is, okay, sorry. Before that, in building, in being valuable to relevant relationships. So I spoke about that you cannot just offer your values to just anybody. You have to treat them based on their value in the marketplace. I mean, in this context now, right? So the way that you treat, say, if you have Dangote as a friend, or say Elon Musk, it's different from the way you treat a secondary school classmate that's just a random guy that is your classmate, right? So you have to be able to treat people based on their value and based on their relationship with you, based on the category of relationships that they have with you. But the second thing is, how do you offer values to these people? So it can be in terms of skills, you've been being able to help them out, say they need a kind of expertise, you offering to help. It can be in terms of recommendations. You've had conversations with this person, you know what this person is interested in, you know what kind of opportunities this person is looking for. You can recommend them, or you can share these opportunities with them. It's a way of building relationship. And I know that this happens a lot, whereby you connect with somebody and then the relationship dies there, and you're like, I don't know what to say. I was right. I don't know what more to say. Like, the conversation did not just happen. So yeah, they shift in that kind of relationship building. Instead of just asking them, what do you do? And then save contact and then have nothing else to say. Ask them, what kind of opportunities are you looking for right now? So they get to share more, and you get to pick things that in the future, if you see this kind of opportunity, say grants, say they are looking for how they can partner with this kind of brands, and you find one, you can easily just go to their DM and say, oh, based on the conversation we had the other day, I just thought to share this with you. And they'll be so grateful, like, oh, are you serious? You were so thoughtful. You were able to, capture this and share with me. They would find it, really valuable to them, right? Sometimes we think that we need to buy them very expensive gifts on their birthday. You can do that too. But sometimes it's the little things that you do along the way you congratulate them, the way that you show up for their events, most times, not because, oh, what they are going to talk about, something you've not heard before, but because you are supporting them. In my life, I've traveled for someone's event to support, traveled, paid for my logistics, paid for my hotel, paid for my feeding, and I'm volunteering, right? Relationships, right? Things that we do in offering value to people. And before I share the last thing, which is protecting your network, I'm going to say that, when it comes to unlocking opportunities based on your relationship, I've been a huge benefactor, right? I'm not going to give details because maybe the person go watch this video, but one time I met someone and I connected with this person at an event. That time, that was like my highest ticketed event I've ever paid for. And so I did that. I connected, and when the person was traveling back, I bought a gift for the person. And the person so much loved it. I was like, oh, this is so nice. I think 1 month later, there was an opportunity, for leaders, and then I applied for it too, not knowing that this person was like the admin. They want to review this, the people that had registered. So of course, I put in my best foot and all of that. But looking at thousands, I think about 4,000 thereabout applied, right? And long story cut short is that I was among the 50 something person that was selected for this opportunity. I don't want to believe that, oh, it's just by love. Nah, I think that relationship actually played a long role, and I can tell a bit deeper on how things went, but because this is live, I don't want to go into too much details. I'll tell you another one. So one time I volunteered for a friend's event. There I met somebody else. We connected, we spoke, and that was it. Then I think a few months down the line, I was in that person's city, and then I was like, "Let me pay you a visit." I was like, "Yeah, sure, come around." I came and I was like, "I've been thinking about it. I think I'd like to get a job just to test the waters and stuff like that." I was like, "Okay, let me think about it." And then text me. I was like, "Okay, you know what? You can work at my firm." No interview, nothing. I resumed on good salary and everything. And that's just like another one. I'll tell you another one. How I got to work in the government is also through relationships, right? A relationship, someone introduced me, someone that I have served introduced me like, oh, this person can actually do this. Again, the place of being skillful with something. Because when people, in relationship building to unlock opportunities, there are rooms that you can't just enter. In fact, you cannot knock on. They have to open it from the inside to invite you in. Those kind of rooms, it's based on your track record, based on what you can do, based on the value that you bring to the table, that is going to serve as a yardstick for them wanting to bring you into those rooms. So woe to you if you do not have anything valuable to offer beyond what an average person can offer. And this is why we advocate for you being unique, being good at something, being the best at something, that whenever anybody needs this particular expertise, your name is the first that comes to your mind or to their mind, right? And I've had this over and over again. I've had relationship open doors. I've had, there are tough times that I've had in my life when I need certain figures to handle certain projects. All I just had to do was make a call. Oh, I need this. Okay, send me your account details. And that was it. The first time I knew, because I, as a person, I used to hate to network. No, not network. I used to hate to ask for help, right? I don't like asking for help. But one day something happened. I was in a very huge debt, very complicated story. So I was trying to be good to somebody, and then I not entered one chance. But long story. So how did I, get out of that, or got out of that? How did I, got out of that situation? It was in that process I started learning how to ask for help, even though it was weird, even though I hated it. But I know that if my name will not be on Insta blog, I will need to ask for help, right? So that was when I started on learning the mindset of no, don't ask for help, let people do your things by yourself. I would rather allow grounds to open and swallow me than to ask people for help. right? And then I also got to discover that people can also be kind. There are people who are willing to help if you just ask. Sometimes they are not going to read your mind. You just have to ask. If you want it, ask for it. The scripture says, ask and you shall receive. You're not going to receive sometimes when you do not ask, even if they have it. Of course, asking is a skill, right? You don't just ask anyhow. You need to be able to, understand the timing. Have I built enough social capital with this person so much that I can ask this kind of request? There are people in my life that even if I have a kind of need, I cannot ask them, not because they cannot solve it, but I'm like, no, 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 it's too small of a problem to bring to this person. When I, if I should have, not when, if I should have a bigger problem that equates this person kind of value, then I can bring it to this person, right? But there's a way to these things, right? You don't just, request anyhow. You don't just ask people anyhow. There are things you just don't do anyhow. You need to be strategic. You need to be thoughtful. You need to be valuable. And then the last point that I'm going to make for tonight is that you need to protect your network. Yep. And the truth is, for me as a person, I like to, be caring. I like to help people. So I can easily want to just bring anybody into my cycle of friends and my cycle of influence and my cycle of, networks. But I've also realized over time that if I'm not careful, that can be damaging. I bring people into my space that ended up, ruining things. And so you must understand that you have to guide your network, because at some level, your network is your net worth. And so it's not just about who you know, it's about who knows you. Because you can say you know Dangote, but does Dangote know you? You can say, oh, I know Elon Musk is the founder of Tesla, but does he know you? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. And when you secure, that's why there are some people you meet and that you connect with and you don't post their pictures, not because they are masquerade or not because they are evil people, but because you need to protect that identity. You need to protect that you even know this person, because people can use that as a yardstick to come for you in a bid to get to that person. Do you understand? So protect your network from the wrong people. Protect them when they are going through tough times. Be there for them, right? Find ways to offer assistance when they do need you. Ensuring that the right information goes in and not something bad, not something that can spoil their reputation. And in protecting your network, you also need to understand that it also means that there are certain things you cannot do, not just because of for yourself, but because it will rub off on these people too, because they are in your cycle. So that's it for tonight, guys. For this, with these few words of mine, I hope you've learned a couple of things around how you can unlock opportunities through networking and relationships. So if you can do all of these things, trust me, people would offer you values that you did not even expect, right? They would open you to rooms, they will introduce you to people, they will share opportunities back to you. I know all of this conversation, I've mentioned what you need to do, but the irony of things is that when you focus on doing these things, the other side just happens automatically. You just hear people call you, oh, I recommended you for this opportunity. Oh, apply for this grant, apply for this. Oh, I was thinking about it. We were having a conversation in our company and we're looking for somebody to train our staff, and your name came to, our mind, and then I recommended you and they want your contact and stuff like that. All of these things just happen automatically. And if you ever do need help, it's so much easier to reach out because you've built what we call social capital. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Uh, Let me give a shout out to those who are still on the live session. If you're still on the live, just drop a comment. Uh, and see Hope. I can see Joy. Okay, good to see you, Joy. Joy is our admin in the private community. Okay, Perpetua. Good to see you. Um, oh, my good friend, not Blessing. Good to see you too. Oh, she said it's an Hangout attendee. Yes, she has been in every edition of Hangout, and as a matter of fact, she has reserved her ticket for this coming edition of Hangout. So yeah, uh, wait, I'm coming. I think I missed a comment. Did I? Did I? Did I? I hope I did not. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Hope, yeah, I see you, Hope. Good to see you on this live session. Please let's give a warm welcome to Hope, our newest member of the private community. Please a round of applause for Hope. Give her a warm welcome. And then if this is your first time or joining any of my live sessions, we have small chops. We have refreshments for you in the comment section. So we drop that. So a couple of things that I mentioned earlier, the Hangout 4.0 coming up this month on the 28th in Benin City. So you can reserve your seats, which the registration for seat reservation closes on the 21st of this month. So don't sit on it. Just go ahead to the link in the description of this video and reserve your ticket. There are 3 tickets categories, and also you can also be a part of the private SLA private community where we get to do really intense stuff. Oh, that reminds me. So for this month of May, as the custom is in the private community, we have like a schedule of things. For example, we have movie recommendation, we have book recommendations, and we have a theme for each month. This month is on building relationships. I think I'll just share a few. For this month, we have 2 books. The first book is Never Eat Alone, which of course I would share personally to those like the members of the private community. And we have the second book, which it only will be disclosed to the private community. Movie for the month, I think it will also be disclosed only to the private community too as well. And then other things that we get to do in-house to ensure that every one of us is excelling at each areas of our lives. So what else should I have missed? And then yeah, if you just want to join the general community, the link is also in the comment section. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. I hope that this meeting has been helpful and valuable to you, and do make use of these ideas and the strategies to building your enterprise and whatever it is that you're doing in your life. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't. Yeah, peace. Bye. Okay, YouTube will be YouTube. I want to log out. What is this?